Bismillah, barakallahu fikum. All right, we're going to continue in Al-Mu'taqad al-Saghir by Imam Ibn Khafeef, the direct student of Imam al-Ash'ari, rahimahumullah ta'ala. I ask Allah to make this easy for me and for you. He has some lofty concepts here. So may Allah make it easy. And we're going to start from his statement here, where he says, rahimahullah, wal imanu ghayrul Islam. Iman is other than Islam. Perhaps you heard the statement, Iman and Islam are the same. The scholars have two ways to say this. Some of them say Iman, faith, and Islam, submission, are the same, or they are one. This means they come together always. Those who say faith and submission are the same, or they are one, they mean they always come together. They never separate. And this author is saying they are not the same. Iman is other than Islam. What does he mean? He has a different creed? No, really has the same creed. But what he's saying is each one is not the other, although they come together. So they're all saying the same thing, fundamentally. Faith, Iman, that's what you deem true in your heart. But this is a religious Iman here, not a linguistic Iman. Okay, you remember. First of all, these words have linguistic meanings. Iman linguistically means tasdeeq, deeming something true. That means verifying something. But we're going to translate it as faith in a religious context. Iman. And Islam has a linguistic meaning, which is submission, yielding, giving up, conceding. And it has a religious meaning, which is the minimum of it is the outward display of Islam, which is to say the Shahada with the tongue. That's most minimum. So the Iman, believing, that's in the heart. That doesn't appear to us. And the Islam, the submitting, that is on the outside. The very least of it is saying the Shahada with the tongue. That no one is God but Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Even if a person didn't pray, didn't fast, didn't do the other obligations. That's not permissible, of course, but this is valid. A person would be a Muslim if he has faith and submission. So what's the author talking about here when he says Iman is ghayrul Islam, other than Islam? He means the faith, which linguistically is deeming something true, it's inward. It is present in the heart. And the Islam, which is the submission linguistically, and it appears on, it's from the outside, that's different from what's in the heart. So that's why they're different. But they come together always. They do not separate. Yani, how would it look for these to separate? It would be that a person in his heart would be verifying that there is one God who's not like anything. Not a man, doesn't have children, It's not a creature or a creation. It's not a shape or form or a color. He verifies this in his heart, but will not say Shahada with his tongue. So then this one is not a believer. He's not really faithful. Does not have Iman. He just has a conviction, but it's not valid because he didn't submit. Or the other side is for a person outwardly to say the Shahada and display Islam while inwardly he is devoid of faith. Then he would be a hypocrite in religion. Not merely a hypocrite in his actions, but a hypocrite in his convictions. A hypocrite in his convictions. So then the person would not be a Muslim and he would not be a believer. He would neither be a mu'min nor a Muslim with only one of those. So what we say is like what Abu Hanifa said. Al-Iman wal-Islamu mutalaziman. Iman and Islam, faith and submission are bound. They come together always. Then he said, وَالتَّوْحِيدُ غَيْرُ الْمَعْرِفَةِ. Tawheed, yani the monotheism, is other than, yani, is different from knowledge, marifa. My computer wants to be slow. Monotheism is not knowledge. What? Yani, meaning a person just because he has, supposing that he knows monotheism properly, which means that he confirms there is one creator who is not similar to the creations. Just saying there's one God is not monotheism. That's just a word. Because if a person believes there's one God who's a body, God is a body like a man who lives in the sky, that's not monotheism. That's imagination, which is paganism here. It's like an idol worshiper, except his idol is imaginary. So it's not just monotheism, it's not just saying God is one. It's really having proper understanding that the creator is dissimilar from anything, has no likeness. Whatever you can imagine, he is different. It doesn't have a shape or form or color. He exists without time and he exists without place. A person might comprehend this, but does not accept it. That's the meaning of the monotheism being different from knowledge. Yani, a person might even perceive the true meaning of the monotheism without accepting it. Would prefer to worship a man, for example, or worship idols, or worship Jesus, or the like. وَالْمَعْرِفَةُ غَيْرُ الْإِيمَانِ. And knowledge is, and knowledge is other than faith, iman. Yani, like we just said, a person might know something without accepting it. He might know without accepting it. Just like Allah told us about the Jews in the Quran, يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. They know him, Muhammad. They know Muhammad. They recognize him like they recognize their own children. So here I could put the word recognition. Monotheism is not recognition, and recognition is not faith. But I'm afraid this is not clear. So that's why I'm putting the word knowledge here. Like I mentioned for you last time, there is in reality a difference between ilm and ma'rifah. But maybe many people don't perceive a difference between them in meaning. Ilm is knowledge. Ma'rifah is recognition, being familiar with something. But a lot of times, ma'rifah is translated as knowledge. The distinction between those two is very fine one. The author says, وَيَعْتَقِدُ أَنَّ مَعْرِفَةَ الْإِثْبَاتِ لِلصَّانِعِ ضَرُورَةٌ. And he believes that the knowledge of affirming the Creator is necessary. So, if I translate ma'rifah here as recognition, it would come out as he ya'taqid, yani has the conviction. He has the conviction that ma'arifat al-ithbati lis-sani', recognizing the confirmation of the maker, that recognizing the affirmation, yani the confirmation of the maker is darura, necessary. Innate is a nice word. Intrinsic, inherent, essential. Yes, essential. Here, let's take the parentheses out here and just put semicolon. Necessary or innate. He, who's he? وَيَعْتَقِدُ هُوَ, who's he? From the beginning of the text, if you remember, the author Ibn Khafeef, rahimahullah, he described a knowledgeable, diligent believer, also with other descriptions. What did he say? He said, remember, indeed, the intelligent person is the one who substantiates his conviction in preparation for meeting the judgment of his Lord. He refines his intention, he perfects his worship, he knows and he strives. And then from there, Ibn Khafeef went, saying, and he has a conviction of this, and he has a conviction about that. So this intelligent, sincere, perfectionist in his worship, who is knowledgeable and diligent, he's a mujtahid. When I say diligent here, means he's mujtahid in a linguistic sense of a mujtahid. This is the one when the author keeps saying, and he. How many things is that? One, two, three, four, five. So we'll see if we can remember all five, inshallah, next time. ويعتقد أن معرفة الإثبات للصانع ضرورة. And he has the conviction that recognizing the confirmation of the maker is necessary or innate. Ah, what does this mean? So you notice that I changed it from he believes to he has the conviction because I'm trying to reserve the word belief and believing for iman in terms of the translation. And I use the word conviction for i'tiqad or aqidah, conviction. Ya'taqid, he has i'tiqad, conviction. Wa yu'min, he has belief or faith. So here, i'tiqad. He has a conviction. أن معرفة الإثبات للصانع, that recognizing the confirmation of the maker, he means here inwardly, one's own reflection. This recognition here is his reflecting or his own thinking, his realizing, as if he's using ma'rifah with the meaning of ilm here. If the word ilm were here, it would work. أن علم الإثبات للصانع ضرورة. He has the conviction that recognizing, meaning knowing the confirmation of the maker, is necessary. The maker, yeah, for as-sani', the maker, meaning al-khaliq. Is that one of the names of Allah, as-sani'? No, it's rather one of his descriptions. It's one of his descriptions. Like, don't we say Allah is mawjood, existent? It's not one of his names, though. Don't we say Allah is shay, something? That's a description. It's not a name. And don't we say Allah is ma'bud, worshipped? Yes. And other words too. Don't we say Allah is mutakallim, speaker? But it's not a name of his. You don't say, yeah, mutakallim. The name is what you can call him by. The name is what you can call him by. You say, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Ilah, Ya Rabb, Ya Dhal Jalali wal Ikram. And the description is not a name, so you don't call him by it. So you don't say, Ya Sani', Ya Mawjood, Ya Shay, Ya Mutakallim, etc. This is Asaniya, the maker, is a description of Allah for Allah used by the Sunni theologians. And some of them have cited uh, references from the Quran and from the Sunnah for this description. Didn't the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, Allahu sani'u kulli sani'in wa san'atih. Allah is maker of every maker and his making. And there's also other references. ويعتقد أن معرفة الإثبات للصانع ضرورة. And that sincere, diligent perfectionist in his worship and knowledgeable, there's fifth one, that Muslim, he has the conviction that recognizing, knowing the confirmation of the maker, yani the existence. Confirmation here means existence. Confirmation of his existence is darura, necessary or innate. This means does not require evidence. Does not require evidence. Like what? What does it mean does not require evidence? Like, for example, how do you know that you exist? Yani, you are self-aware, aren't you? With the meaning of you are aware of your own existence, aren't you? Yes, you are. Even the animals are. So do you say, what is the proof that I exist? Let me gather that proof before I doubt about it. No, you don't need a proof for it. That's what it means to be necessary. Known by necessity does not require evidence. Something would be known by necessity by way of sound senses, like the fact that we can make a choice. Like the fact that we can make a choice, that's known by necessity. And and also you can get necessary knowledge by intuition, like being aware of your own existence, or knowing that you're hungry when you feel the feeling of hunger in your stomach. You don't say, oh, what's that? Let me gather my clues to figure it out. Rather, you know it by necessity. Or even you could know something necessarily by successive mass transmission. What the author is saying here is the existence of the maker is intuitive. This is the meaning of what he is saying. The existence of the maker is intuitive. And that saying is a saying of some of the scholars of the people of the prophetic way. That the existence of the maker is intuitive. Knowing the existence of the maker is by intuition. Yani, it's intuitive. However, but before I say the however, what did he say after that? وَمَعْرِفَةُ الصِّفَاتِ مُكْتَسَبَةٌ وَمَعْرِفَةَ الصِّفَاتِ مُكْتَسَبَةٌ. And that the knowledge of the attributes is acquired. What he's saying is, knowing about the existence of Allah is intuitive. Knowing about his attributes requires thinking. Muktasabah, it's acquired. Learned here. Basically means learned. So when something is known by necessity, you didn't learn it. Yani, if you accept to put the word learn here in this spot, then we're going to say, for example, you're Awareness of your own existence, you never learned it. You knew it. You didn't learn it. Yani, you didn't figure it out. If learning here means figure it out, you didn't figure it out, you knew it intuitively. So what the author is saying here is that knowing the existence of Allah Ta'ala in itself is intuitive. You don't learn it. You will know it. But knowing about his attributes is something acquired, something learned, something you will figure out, realize. So that's what he said. And that's what he said here about the confirmation of the maker being necessary. That's a position, that's a saying. And what we learned is stronger saying is that even recognizing or knowing the confirmation of the maker is acquired. It's learned. Yani, you figure it out. However, it's easy, very easy. It is at the uh, ultimate level of being simple. It is so easy and simple to know, to acquire the knowledge that the Creator exists, that some scholars thought that it's intuitive. Yani, those who don't say that it is intuitive, they say, but it is so easy, so simple, so rudimentary. They say it's so rudimentary, easy, and simple that some think that it's intuitive. So that's what we learned. And Shaykh Abdullah, rahimahullah, he has a saying, which is that for some of the slaves of Allah, knowing the existence of the Maker is intuitive. For some slaves of Allah, not all of them, for some slaves of Allah, recognizing the confirmation of the Maker is necessary, with the meaning of being intuitive. You know it without figuring it out. Someone asked me, how could this be? How could it be necessary and intuitive for some and not for others? It's intuitive for some and others have to figure it out. So my answer to him is that that's how it is when Allah makes some people smarter than others, with the meaning of He gives some people more intelligence than others. So some of those slaves of Allah, they are enlightened, so that knowing the existence of the Maker is for them intuitive. They didn't figure it out. They always realized it. They found it in themselves, this understanding. And others, they need to figure it out, but it's easy. How do you figure it out? By saying, for example, well, this world exists, and so there must be someone who made it. That's very simple reasoning there. That's a very simple reasoning. Yani, that's the reasoning of a simple person. Some simple person, that's not an insult, just he's not like a scientist or something. He's a simple person, let's say average person, or even below average, possibly. He will say to himself, this world exists, so someone must have made it. This is sound reasoning. So to himself, this means, therefore, God exists. This is valid. This is not intuitive. That process right there was not intuition, what we mean by being intuitive. That process was what we are calling muktasaba, acquired or learned, realized, figured out. But if the word learned for you means you must have had a teacher, then it doesn't have to go there. If the word learned means for you mu'allam in particular, having a mu'allim, then that's not what's intended. Any question here? Then he says, rahimahullah, وَمَعْرِفَةُ التَّخْصِيصِ مَوْهِبَةٌ. The knowledge of a takhsis. So very literally, takhsis is specifying. But this is a special term here. Is a bestowal, a gift. Yani, I don't know if this really can get translated unless we think of a really nice word here. What's the takhsis? This is a Sufi word. And what's intended here is Allah is endowing upon the Sufi what makes him a perfectionist in his worship. When I say being a perfectionist in worship, that's how I'm translating al-ihsan. You know the hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam, when he asked the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam about Islam, and the Prophet told him, Islam is 5 things: the shahada and the prayer, the zakat, the fasting, and the hajj. And then the angel asked him about iman, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him 6 things: believe in Allah and His angels and His books and His prophets and the last day and in destiny, its good and its evil. Then he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about ihsan. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see Him. And if you do not see Him, then know that He sees you. That's this what I am translating as perfection, perfection in worship, the ihsan. Because this what it means to worship Allah as if you see Him. Then what you're going to do, you're going to pray perfectly. You're going to worship perfectly. And if you don't see Him, then know that He sees you, then you're going to worship perfectly. If you are worshiping while in mind that Allah sees you, or if you are worshiping as if you see Allah, then how are you going to worship? In the worst way? In a lazy way? Or are you going to be in the best way? You're going to be in the best way. That's a rank there. This is not just words. So maybe for some of us, this is just words. Worship Allah as if you see Him. Oh, mashallah. That's real. But did any of us reach this level here? So that it's not merely words for us here. So it's not just imagination. For me, it's just imagination. I'm telling you what I comprehend. I never tasted it. I don't think. I'm pretty sure never. I'm pretty sure I'm not at that level. Yani, I am not at that level so that I could be talking from experience as opposed to talking from just learning. But I use the word perfection here for ihsan because ihsan means perfection in other spots. Yani al-ihsan means sometimes al-itqan. Al-ihsan is al-itqan, mastery. Ihsan in the worship is the mastery, the perfectionist, the perfectionism in the worship. And just to throw some things out at you, basic things, then what you're going to do if you want to be like this, you're going to do all the sunnahs. You're going to, first of all, do all the obligations. Pray on time, all your prayers. And do all the sunnahs, insha'Allah ta'ala. Your wudu will be complete wudu, washing all your organs 3 times, not being lazy. Do all the sunnah, all the sunnah, all the sunnah. And your prayer too. You're doing all the sunnah. Your feet are forward towards Qibla, not diagonal, straight forward. And make ruku', and your back and your neck are straight like one board. And when you say the takbirs from one position to the other, you stretch them from the time you start the move until you finish the move. And let me remind you, since we're here, in the prayer, Sami'a Allahu liman hamidah, this is the dua for coming up from ruku' into standing. It's not the dua for standing. If you are used to saying that when you stand, then get used not to that. Yani, lose this habit. Put it in its proper place. Especially when you follow the Imam. Because what's going to happen? This is what just now reminded me the other day. In congregational prayer, the Imam's going to say, Sami'a Allahu liman hamidah, coming up from ruku', like he's supposed to. And then what are the followers going to say when they come up? They're going to, what do they do which they shouldn't do? They stand all the way up and then they say, Sami'a Allahu liman hamidah. So this is not perfection in the worship here, because you put the sunnah not in its spot. You didn't do the sunnah, actually, not in its spot. It's not perfect. Rather, the dhikr for being standing straight is Rabbana lakal hamd. Both the imam and the followers should say, while rising, Sami'a Allahu liman hamidah. Then you rise up, Sami'a Allahu liman hamidah. Not loud though. And the followers don't say it loud too, anyway. What does the follower say loud? Ameen in a loud prayer, not in a low prayer. Not all the other things. Just Ameen. Not the takbirs too. Don't the followers sometimes say Allahu Akbar, loud voice. It's not for the follower. To have perfect worship, you must learn. You won't have the perfect worship without learning. You won't have perfect worship without learning. The best way to guarantee perfect worship is to become a scholar. But, yani, you can still perfect your worship more and more without being a scholar. But you need to learn, for sure. You must learn. And more than the obligatory knowledge, too. If you want perfect worship, you need to learn more than the obligatory knowledge. If you want valid worship, learn the obligatory knowledge. You want perfect worship, you need more than the obligatory knowledge. So this takhsis here, which means specifying in a literal sense, it's a Sufi word. I'm not sure what might be the best word to translate here. وَأَصْلُ الْإِيمَانِ مَوْهِبَةٌ وَشَرَائِطُهُ مُكْتَسَبَةٌ. And the foundation of faith, the basis of faith, is a bestowal. Yani, bestowal means Allah gave it to you. The base of faith, yani the fact that you believed in the first place. Having the faith, that is. Having faith in the first place, that's a bestowal from Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Otherwise, if he doesn't bestow it upon you, you will be a wretched kafir. وَشَرَائِطَهُ مُكْتَسَبَةٌ, while its conditions are acquired, meaning you do what validates your faith, meaning you recognize the right conviction and you submit truly and pronounce the shahada with your tongue. So you are actively and deliberately, intentionally fulfilling the conditions for a valid iman, saying the shahada, believing in it. This is your action as a slave. This is what you acquire and what you choose to do and what is written down as you do it. But even having the faith that you have, it's a bestowal from Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. It's the mercy from Allah that you are a believer. It's the mercy from Allah that He guided you to do what validates your faith. It was a mercy from Allah Ta'ala that He sent to you someone who would say to you correct knowledge. You heard that correct knowledge. It was a mercy from Allah Ta'ala that He gave you a heart that accepts what you are hearing. And it was mercy from Allah Ta'ala that He made your outward submission appealing to you. And so you chose to utter the Shahada. So the basis of faith is a bestowal, while its conditions are acquired, yani enacted. Enacted by you. Acquired here means enacted. You are the one who is doing the actions that validate the faith. And Ibn Khafeef, he still has some more lofty words here. This aqidah in some spots is a very challenging one for me because of his Sufi talk, which I am not strong in. But this is not unique to Ibn Khafeef, putting this lofty talk in here. And if you are familiar with the aqidah of Al-Tahawi, you'll find that Tahawi has talk like this. Tahawi has lofty statements. I'm talking about profound religious statements. Some of these creedal documents that we have been reading, you're familiar with them, you studied some of them. They are straightforward in the science of the creed. Take the Aqidah of An-Nasafi, for example. It's pretty straightforward in the science of the creed. Or take, for example, Yani, even Sanusi has a taste of Sufism in the back. It looks like those Malikis, they have some expertise in Sufism. All the madhabs do, but I see the Malikis putting tasawwuf in their Aqidah books. Ibn Khafeef, I don't know what's his madhab. And also he has, to remind you, in this Aqidah book, Usul al-Fiqh. So this book is challenging, mashallah. I remember also that I found Ghazali's Aqidah book challenging too. Looking forward to reviewing all of these with you, inshallah ta'ala. We still have a ways to go here with the Ibn Khafeef's book. Looks like we still got not less than a month here. We're down here at the bottom of page 446. Yeah. So there's plenty of pages left there. See, it's not fully translated yet. Then we're going to do after that, we'll see, inshallah ta'ala. Wallahu a'lam, we'll stop here. Do you have any question I can answer for you?